Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Imaginary Creatures. I'm glad you're here this week. Today, as I promised last week, we're going to hear some more stories about Native American peoples, except we're going a little bit farther south than last week. And I have a question for you today, and that is, how do you like music in your life? How important is that in your life? Well, today we're going to answer the question, how did music come to the earth? How did we ever get these beautiful sounds that we hear? And it might be regular music, but it might also be the pretty sounds that we hear from nature. And one of the things that we've talked about this year as we've gone along is that legends and myths can answer different questions. And some of the questions that we get from myths and legends can be, how did certain things occur in the world? How do we get different things that have happened in the world? How did creation start? How did disasters happen? And today we're going to explore the idea of how did we get music on the earth? So this story comes from the Aztec people, and I wanted to show you a map of where the Aztec people were, because unfortunately, they do not exist anymore. So I'm going to show you a map of where the Aztec people were. And they happen to be in where now we think of as Mexico. So let me make this map a little bit bigger for you. So here we are in the United States right here, and there's Canada, and there's Europe and Africa over here, and China. We hear a lot about China right now, don't we? So this is South America, and right here down below, if we go below the United States, here's Mexico. And so if I click right there, you can see what Mexico looks like today. And so here we have Mexico. And this is a map of what the Aztec, this is the part right here of where the Aztec Empire used to be. So you can see it's kind of just a little bit below the middle part of where Mexico is today. And I thought I'd just show you some pictures of some things. And here it is in the world right down here. See, there's the United States and Canada, and there's Alaska way up there. Okay, so I thought I'd show you some pictures then of, this is an Aztec temple. And do you notice that it looks a little bit almost like some pyramids that you might go and see in Egypt, which is quite a ways away. And here is some Aztec art, some artifacts that we have found. And there's another beautiful sculpture. And here's some drawings that tell a story. And there you can see, it looks very similar, doesn't it, to the temple that we just saw. And this is a boat that goes across probably this Lake Texcoco right here. So there's quite a history that we won't go into today of some very interesting stories. And the Aztec people, as you can see here, they lived from about the 1300s through the latter part of the 1500s. So it's a long time ago. It's about 700 years ago. That's quite a long time ago, isn't it? Well, as you kind of saw a spoiler alert from the picture when I was cutting over to the map, I'm going to share now on the screen a couple pictures, and it comes from the story that I'm going to tell today. There are two gods from the legend of this myth that I'm going to tell you today, two brothers, and probably kind of like the stories, or kind of like any families, like in your families, if you have two siblings, two brothers, or any children in the family, you don't always get along. And these two gods that I'm going to tell you about in this story, sometimes they got along and sometimes they really butted heads and did not get along at all. So let me share the screen again, and I will show you a picture of what these two brothers looked like. Isn't this beautiful artwork? And you may have heard about one of them before because he's quite famous. His name was Quetzalcoatl, and this is a picture of him. And he's quite often pictured here with holding a snake and having these feathers here, because Quetzalcoatl is the name of a bird with feathers, and he's found in Central America. And so that's a picture of him. But this is his brother over here, and his name is Tezcatlipoca. And he is pictured like this. And I'm going to suggest an activity at the end that I think you may enjoy. So they're very vibrant and interesting pictures. And there's carvings that are done of them. And I just think that the art is quite beautiful, isn't it? So let me tell you the story. And the story is how music came to the earth. And I wanted to show you the illustrations that go along with this story. And I'm going to add a little bit to the story because the pictures that go with this story I thought were beautiful. But the story is told very simply, so I may add a little detail to the story as we go along. So here is the story of the musicians of the sun, or how music came to the earth. Out of the starry night he came, invisible, untouchable. Lord of the night, king of the gods, soul of the world. And this is Tezcatlipoca. He is called Lord of the night. He's the sky god. The Lord of the night had a magic mirror. It was his third eye. In it, he could see all the world. The world is gray and joyless, he said. He was saying that because there was no sound. There was no music. And he was known to have this smoking mirror that he could see what was going on in the world. Children do not laugh, women do not dance, men do not sing. The people spend their lives in darkness and silence. I will change this, declared the Lord of the night. That's Tezcatlipoca, the sky god. See, they look like they're just going along in drudgery, don't they? No music in their hearts. The Lord of the night called wind to his side. Well, here comes wind. Oh, wind, he said, fly to the house of the sun. Free the 4 musicians held prisoner there. Red, yellow, blue, and green. Bring them to earth so the people may hear the music. And who he's calling is his brother, Quetzalcoatl, the wind god. But Lord, said the wind, Sun is a mighty warrior who destroys his enemies with fire. I'm nothing but air. How can I overcome his power? Do not be afraid, said Lord of the night. I will arm you. So he said, I'm going to send some things to help you. So the two brothers are working together this time. So here everything looks pretty bleak and glum all over the world, but these two gods want to change it. So here's Quetzalcoatl And he's the wind god, and he's being sent off here to go bring down these musicians. You remember there's a yellow one, a blue one, a white one, and a red one that are up with the sun. So the Lord of the Night gave wind, that's Quetzalcoatl, a turquoise shield, a black thundercloud, and a shining silver lightning. Wind took the weapons and swept across the mountains, searching for the house of the sun, because it was rather hidden, so it wasn't just obvious. There was this rather like a castle. At last, he reached the edge of the sea. There he is at the edge of the sea. He met Turtle Woman, Fish Woman, and Alligator Woman on the shore. Where is the house of the sun? Asked Wind. On the other side of the sea, answered Turtle Woman, too far for wind to blow. So he couldn't get there by himself. He needed some help. It is a long journey over the waves and through the darkness, said Fish Woman. Your strength will fail. But Lord of the Night has sent me, said Wind. I must free the prisoners of the sun. We will help you, said Alligator Woman. So in some stories, it says that they twined together and made like a rope so he could climb up, or he could get up to the sun. In this story, it says, Turtle Woman, Fish Woman, and Alligator Woman carried Wind far across the sea. The sky began to glow. Faster, cried Wind, before sun rises too high. The three women swam until the sea foamed white behind them. So they're helping him to get across that far sea. Now sun was shining above the horizon. Wind took great breath and leaped into the sky. As he flew up towards the house of the sun, he heard sweet music of flute, drum, shell, and rattle. Musicians of the sun, he cried. I am coming to free you. Almost there. The musicians heard him. They yearned to be free, but sun made them more fearful. They continued to play. Go away, said sun to the wind, or I will destroy you. It sounds pretty serious. He was very, very angry. He was not about to let his musicians go because they sounded so beautiful. It was a heavenly sound, that music. Absolutely gorgeous. And the flute players were dressed in gold and yellow. I know you can't quite see this in this picture, but it's gold and yellow. And the blue was a lullaby player. And the white was playing oh no, the white one, I guess you can't quite see the white one. The white one was dressed, were lullaby singers, were dressed in white. The blue ones were minstrel singers, and the love songs were dressed in red, like a heart. So they each had different types of songs that they were singing. So here is the sun. Wind went closer still and called out again, musicians of the sun, come away with me. Ignore him, said the sun. Play on. Sun burned even more fiercely. And the musicians played louder than before. So they tried to drown out the sound of the wind. Do you think that will work? Wind came near. Musicians of the sun, I have come to take you down to earth. Come no closer, said the sun. He hurled a rain of fire darts at Wind, who raised his turquoise shield so that he was not harmed. Good thing he had that shield, right? That was one of the things that his brother had sent to protect him, right? Then Wind howled and unleashed his thunders. Black clouds spilled forth. Darkness covered the face of the sun, and his light grew dim. So when Tezcatlipoca got angry, there was nothing left to be done. He got furious, and he blew black clouds that spilled forth, and thunder and lightning, and he became so furious at the sun. And now look at the sun. Oh no, he's getting covered up by those dark clouds. Now he doesn't feel so brave, does he? The four musicians huddled together. We are frightened, O Wind, they cried. Then come with me, said Wind. I promise you freedom. So as soon as he saw that they were afraid, his anger went away. He was just trying to get them away from the sun, who was being very persistent at keeping those musicians. And he wanted to get them away and take them away from being captives and not being prisoners of the sun. So as soon as they were able to get away and get their freedom, whew, see, they're free now. They are not entangled anymore and prisoners of the sun. Now they're free. So as soon as they were free, he said, don't worry, come with me. I promise you freedom. The musicians grasped the Wind's cloak. There they are. As he leapt away from the house of the sun, Wind threw his shiny silver lightning to cut through the darkness below. Come back, bellowed the sun. I command you. But Sun was lost in the black clouds. He could not see where they were going. And he was powerless because of that. See, he's lost. He cannot see where they were. Wind carried the musicians through the sky, across the stars, and gently down to earth. Lord of the Night welcomed them. Play your music, he said. Bring happiness to my people. So when they got back to the earth, Tezcatlipoca said, welcome, welcome. Please come play your music. You are welcome here. Bring happiness to my people. So there's the musicians coming safely and lightly down to earth with Quetzalcoatl. The musicians curled their toes in the cool earth and began to play. Here they are. They're all playing their different melodies. The red to the east and played the joy of her drum. The yellow faced west and played a lullaby on his flute. The blue faced to the south and played a song of night on her shell. And the green faced to the north and played a song of dawn with his rattles. So each one faced a different direction, north, south, east, and west. And they played on a different instrument and they played a different type of music. The wind carried the beautiful sounds of the earth all throughout the world and filled it with color, and children laughed, and the women danced, and the men sang, and even the sun, it turned out the sun was happy and poured out his light upon them. So there was even a happy ending with the sun. And all gave thanks to the Lord of the night, Tezcatlipoca, and the king of the gods, Quetzalcoatl, and the soul of the world. So that is the happy story of how music came to the earth. And I hope you enjoyed that story. And remember, it comes from the Aztec people of the middle part, who lived in the middle part of Mexico. And I hope you enjoyed that story today. You can tell me if you enjoyed it. Send me a little thing about that if you want to. So I hope you enjoyed that story, and we'll see you next week. Bye.